On March 5, 2024, an officer conducted a traffic stop on a vehicle for an obstructed license plate.
How you doing?
How are you?
Good. Can you roll down this back window, please?
There's a bunch of stuff that's gonna fall out, but
Oh, it will? Okay, okay. You can put it back up. You can put it back up. I couldn't see it. Your tint was so dark. There it goes. Do you have a driver's license on you? How you doing, sir?
this
Good.
is expired. I do have an expired.
Okay, sounds good.
It's just broken in half.
Yeah, that's fine. Sir, do you have an ID on you?
Yes, sir.
215. Is there canine in the cell phone?
Also, I need that for Corinthians, trying to get C4, trying to get return 83.
34. They're too far out.
What did you say?
Ma'am,
Yes.
I don't know what you have in your bag, and I feel very uncomfortable with you keep on digging in there. So do you mind not digging in your bag, please?
ID, of course.
I got you. So you do have a license, though?
Yeah.
Okay. Sir?
It's expired.
Okay, that's your ID? Okay, cool. So where are you from, ma'am?
Okay.
California? All right. You do have a California valid driver's license? Okay, you do? All right. Do you want to step out for me real quick? I want to figure out your driver's license situation, okay?
What do you mean?
Because I want you to step out of the car. You're not going to? 215, another unit, refusing to step out of the vehicle. You ain't going to step out of the vehicle?
Why can't I stay in the car so you should look at my license? Excuse me.
Step out of the vehicle. I ain't playing this game. Just do what? Step out. Step out. Hands behind your back. Keep your hands behind your back. Face it from the door.
Yeah, I think you go ahead and stop it, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
What's that?
There's a lot there. I don't
There's
know if you
a
want to
lot
start.
there. So
Yeah.
I'm going to start, and I just watched it a little bit ago, but this is so important. There's so many elements here, and again, I want to go back to the Tyreek Hill video and why the officer did what he did, what he had authority to do, where he overreacted. We both agreed that he probably lit things up higher than he had to be. But the very first thing I notice in here, Marcelo, you can tell me if I'm wrong, when he's approaching the vehicle, driver's side approach, they have these very, very dark rear windows, very dark.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And you can't see in the vehicle. In other words, you cannot see in the back seat at all. And so as soon as he makes contact with the driver, the passenger, whatever you call her, the traveler.
The traveler, right.
Hey, can you roll those windows since I can't see? And he tells her why.
Right.
I can't see in the back. Now, again, there could be 4 people back there with arms or whatever it is. He can't see him. She gives an explanation that, hey, if I roll it down, all this junk's going to fall out. She does actually roll it down real quick, and he sees that it's full of a lot of clothing or furniture or whatever it is, and he allows her to roll the window back up. My point being is that we're talking about tinted windows. We're talking about an officer's vision being obstructed. He has great legal latitude to do whatever he or she has to do to make the environment safe for himself. Now, am I off base on that?
No, absolutely right. But just to clarify, Pennsylvania versus Mims gives you the right to pull the driver out of the vehicle. Now, there is nothing in Pennsylvania versus Mims where it says you can pull the driver out of the vehicle because you can't see in the vehicle because he or she has tinted windows. The mere fact that traffic stops are inherently dangerous, that in itself, you can pull a driver out of a vehicle. You don't need furtherance. And I think that's very important, Mark, because I think people think that you have to give a reason, even though a lot of people say, even though you can, should you? And the answer to that question is yes, you should. You should, because the Supreme Court has already established that because traffic stops are inherently dangerous, officers have that right for the safety of the officer and the driver. So there is no need for furtherance. There is no need to say, because she had tinted windows, I pulled her out of the car. Because I was in a gang area, I pulled him out of the car. Because I was in a drug, you don't need it. You don't need it. And so I think that has to be clarified, because I think a lot of people think that you need something else in order to do this. And the courts have been very clear about this.
Yeah,
I'm
very clear. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I'm surprised that she had some sort of a identification.
Some sort is the right it's the right phrase, because we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But to clarify, and it's a great explanation, Marcelo, that the officer doesn't need a quote unquote reason. The Supreme Court, like you said, has already said that traffic stops are inherently dangerous, and the officer can do, obviously, within the law, within reason, what he or she has to do to make things safe. My point about the tinted windows was he also has the authority to order her to roll his windows down for her safety, aside from pulling her out of the car.
Absolutely.
But I'm glad you brought that. It's very important, ladies and gentlemen. And look it up. I think it's 1970, Marcelo. It's Pennsylvania Mims. And by the way,
yes.
Yeah, somewhere. It's a long time ago. But that case was based on just what we're talking about. Officer pulled someone out, did a pat down, and located a firearm on illegally concealed, illegally possessed firearm by the driver of the car. So now again, did the officer know until that point that the guy had a gun? No, but that's the entire point of the Pennsylvania Mims ruling, is that officers should have the authority to protect themselves. And that's exactly what we see here. So when we look at any other videos, aside from sovereign citizen, whatever they are, and cops are ordering the driver out of the car, just so you know, it's completely within line. It was a 6-3 decision by the Supreme Court 50 plus years ago that allowed cops to do that.
Another thing you see
ahead.
in here, that he asked the passenger for his driver's license or identification.
Mm-hmm. Got you brought it up.
Yeah, and so law says that you can ask. Passenger doesn't have to give it to you because he's not in violation of anything at the moment. Through this video, you'll see that he forms reasonable suspicion to now detain the passenger. And I'm sure it's going to be in there here in a moment.
Marcelo, another excellent one. I'm so glad you brought that up. An officer can ask anybody in the car for their ID. There's no law precluding that. Do you have to give the officer your ID if you're a passenger? No. However, like you said, if there's reasonable suspicion, certainly probable cause, then that all changes. I'll give you an example. You stop somebody, in this case, for expired registration or obscure tax, whatever it is, the license plate. You walk up there, you get the driver's information, that the adult passenger is not wearing a seatbelt. Immediately, let me see your driver's license, because they're in violation of law. The reason I say adult, because if the person's under 16 years old, then at least in California, it's the responsibility of the driver to make sure everybody has their seatbelt on. But you see someone in violation of law of that vehicle, you ask for their ID, and then they have to give it to you. I'm very glad you brought that.
That's a good point.
But what you said about that, asking for ID, is illuminating.
Come here. You got weapons on you? Come on. Take a seat. Take a seat. Step out of the vehicle. Put your hands behind your back. You're just being detained, okay?
Okay,
I appreciate your cooperation.
all right. I'm just along for the ride.
I got you. Who's she to you?
She's a friend. And
Sit back. You got any weapons on you?
no, sir.
Here, I'll pat you down, bro.
You can chat me down all you want. The guy I work with,
Yeah, 10-4, you can downgrade, but I'm gonna need another unit.
it's his normal friend.
Is she's a girlfriend?
Yeah, it's his girlfriend.
Other than that BB gun, is there anything?
There's nothing.
Illegal narcotics?
No, sir.
May I see your ID?
My
Your badge and your ID?
Yeah, sure. You want to speak to a lieutenant?
Oh, yes. I'd like to see your
You
ID.
want to speak to a lieutenant? Lieutenant Nash, he wants to speak with you.
Show me your badge.
No, you're not stepping.
Badge and your ID.
No, you're not stepping out. Okay.
Show me your badge and your ID.
She's trying, Samantha. She's trying.
I
Samantha,
would like to see his badge and his ID.
first of all,
He
no, listen,
no.
listen. All right, then you're gonna
Your ID?
go to
Can
jail.
I see your ID as well?
My ID's right here.
Can I see it?
You're about to go to jail. I'm trying to talk you out of going to jail.
You're required to show me your.
There, you see it?
That's a government ID.
You happy?
Yeah.
All
What
right.
am I doing? What's your badge number?
Diesel
I don't have a badge number. Yeah, you ain't in California. Ain't in California. My radio number's 25. You good? All right.
1026 of 22.
He's gonna read your Miranda warning.
Okay.
Okay, totally talking yourself into going to jail.
Do you know what Miranda is?
She did not ever.
Do you know what Miranda is?
No, I do not.
My reason was stay back.
Over there.
The reason why I pulled you, and I'll explain the reason why I pulled you over too. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You also have the right to stop answering.
Your ass to know.
Go and stop it, Anthony. So there are a few things here, and in the interest of full transparency, Marcelo, and objectivity, I do want to talk a couple of things that are ancillary to the sovereign citizen topic that we're discussing. And that's officer safety.
Yeah.
The initial officer called for backup after she wouldn't get out of the car. He has some backup there now, including his boss, lieutenants there. But he brings her back to the vehicle, puts her in the rear seat. At some point, apparently, and I didn't see it, maybe you saw it in the video, he's talking to her about the BB gun, or talking to this gentleman about the BB gun in the car. Is that right?
Right.
I didn't observe that in the car. Did you?
I didn't see that either. I was waiting to see. He didn't mention it, so maybe he was just trying to be nonchalant about it. Here's where reasonable suspicion comes in. Now you can pull the passenger out of the vehicle.
Mhm.
And then he automatically explained, hey, you're just being detained. Is the BB gun the only thing in the car?
Right.
I think later on through the video, there's an open container also.
There's plenty going on.
I think we see some contraband and stuff like that. Now he's developed reasonable suspicion to pull the passenger out of the vehicle. He has that right under Maryland versus Wilson. An officer stops someone for speeding and asks the passenger to get out because he looked nervous, sweating profusely. When he asked the passenger to get out, a bundle of cocaine fell out. He had reasonable suspicion to ask the passenger to get out and then arrested the passenger for the contraband. So I'm
Right.
assuming here that he saw what appeared to be a weapon, which gave him the reasonable suspicion to pull the passenger out of the vehicle. Now, we can talk about tactics.
And I do want to talk about tactics for those officers who are watching, or people who want to be police officers. And again, because we're not sure when he saw this BB gun, that adds something to the critique of the officer safety issue here. Either way, when he makes the second approach, when he walks between the patrol car, the suspect vehicle, he comes up on the passenger side of the car. As he's walking up, he already has his cuffs in his hand. Before he makes any contact, before he removes the person from the vehicle, which with my training, my experience, it puts you at quite a disadvantage, because now maybe your primary hand, your strong hand, your weapon hand is now occupied with the handcuffs, and puts you at a disadvantage. I don't know what the policies are of this particular agency and what its training is, so I don't want to be too critical, but that was a big red flag for me. Also, when he's walking her back to the vehicle, when he pulls her out of the car, he asks her to get out of the car, she gets out eventually, he just help her out. When he's taking her back, the entire time his back is to that suspect vehicle.
Oh, you beat me to it.
And
That's such a good point.
I'll let you take it from there, so go ahead.
He pulls her out of the vehicle, and I don't know if at that point he saw what appeared to be a gun or what he saw, because as soon as he put her in the car, he went right to the passenger. So he had some sort of reasonable suspicion at that point. Immediately when he pulls him out of the car, he goes, is that BB gun the only thing in the car? So he must have already seen it. But when you're by yourself, and you, Mark, have done single man traffic stops much more often than I have, you never put your back to a vehicle that you haven't searched, or to a person that you don't know his motives. especially in a parking lot, if you're going to walk someone back, you walk backwards with the suspect, or in this case, the traveler or driver in front of you, and for obvious reasons. In this case, he turned his back to a possible threat. I never assume that a weapon is a BB gun. I've never had in 22 years. If I see a weapon, to me, it's a real weapon until I verify that it's not. I don't know how he identified it so quickly. You're walking up to the vehicle now, about to pull the passenger out with your cuffs already in your primary hand. And you're right, that puts you in a huge disadvantage. Because if he does have a gun, and if you can see, he opens the door of the passenger side. So now you've got your cuffs in one hand, and now you're using your other hand to open the door. You have nothing available to you, nothing to defend yourself with if that guy comes out with a pistol. Those points are great, and hopefully young officers can see this, because you miss these little things. And I know we're talking about sovereign citizens, but that tactical mishap can really cost you your life. You should always be, and there is no reason for you to walk up to that car again. Go on the passenger side, open your door so you have some sort of cover, and ask the passenger to come out with his hands up and come towards you. That would be the other great option. But go ahead.
I couldn't agree more. If you're going to make that approach, there's a better way. Your better option is to stay back there with protection from an open door and order the passenger back. On top of that, he already had backup en route. What's the hurry?
Right.
There's
Exactly.
no rush. And in the previous video, we're not trying to be critical of our fellow officers. No. We're trying to have everybody learn. I talked about it in the previous show, their two-part series on the CHP Newhall incident 54 years ago that cost the lives of 4 CHP officers. And I said in that show, Marcel, looking back, the number of times that I made serious tactical errors. Had I been dealing with the wrong person, I wouldn't be on this podcast. I wouldn't be any place on this earth right now. Had I been in contact with the wrong real individuals, it was just God's grace that the two elements didn't line up. And right. So this is not to criticize, it's to learn from this. Like you said, we are talking about sovereign citizen, and we're gonna wind this up. We have one more clip on this video to watch. This is very interesting because maybe the audience right now says, well, where's the sovereign citizen stuff? I haven't really seen anything. She gave him an ID. Just keep watching. And so you know who you're dealing with. Anthony, go ahead and play it and stop it at 5:58.
Right to not answer your questions? You have the right to put your hands on me?
Can I finish this? Yeah, I do.
You
will still have the right to stop answering anytime. You also have the right to stop answering anytime until you talk to the lawyer. Do you understand Miranda?
Can you read it one more time?
Do you understand Miranda?
Can you read it one more time, please? I didn't get quite all that.
Yeah, sure. Because you were moving. What you need to do is stop talking and sit there.
It takes me a while to understand everything you just said.
Okay.
Say it one more time, please.
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
All right, I'll say it one more time for you.
Please.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer or advice. She can go to jail. She can go to jail. And to have him or her with you during questioning. You cannot afford a lawyer. One will be appointed for you before any questioning if you wish. If you decide to answer questions without a lawyer present, you will still have the right to stop answering any time. You also have the right to stop answering any time until you talk to a lawyer. Do you understand Miranda?
I'd have to answer that, but yes.
Okay. Yes, you do understand Miranda.
May I please get out of the car?
Okay. No, you're going to sit right there. I can smell alcohol coming off of you. I saw a Red Ryder BB gun. You refused to step out of the vehicle. Pennsylvania v. Mims is case law where I can ask you to step out of the vehicle. Huh?
I had one drink earlier today. Maybe that's why you smell it. That's a BB gun. It's not mine.
Okay, sweet. So you're admitting drinking alcohol.
All right.
Just wait. Let me finish, and then I'll let you talk. I pulled you over because you don't have a tag attached to the outside of your vehicle that's displayed outside the vehicle, okay?
You can't see it, right?
I smell alcohol. I don't know what she's saying. I don't know. I smell the alcohol.
But you can't see it. It's covered up because I'm moving right now.
Yeah, in the state of Florida, you have to have registration on a motor vehicle on the outside of the vehicle, on the rear of the vehicle, okay?
I was not aware of that.
So I can smell the alcohol. I saw the front grip of what I thought to be a firearm. It was a BB gun. You refused to step out of the vehicle. I am going to take you to jail, okay? And I'm going to do a DUI investigation on you as well, okay? And if you want to do that, you can. That's entirely okay, and that's fine. But you're going to jail regardless, okay?
Jail for what?
For resisting without violence. I'm still getting back on your driver's license. I'm not still on that.
Your proof of identification. How are you able
I didn't have to. Resisting without violence, and I'm gonna charge you a DUI, okay?
trust anybody who comes up to us?
We're in uniform.
What am I driving? What am I driving?
All right. Well, that can be your argument in court then. That'll be a good one.
Is there anything illegal?
And Anthony, we may not be a 558.
Okay,
Go
is
ahead
there
and stop it. She starts talking about ID and uniform and how do I know who you are. This is all going into the sovereign citizen diatribe. The same ridiculous arguments and delay tactics they use. She finally, in this video, and folks, you can watch this, maybe we'll link to it, Anthony, watch the entire thing. That's just a few minutes longer. But she eventually asked to be released as a sovereign citizen. And that's in the video, a couple of minutes from here. One of the officers, deputies, turns to the other, oh, we got a sovereign citizen kind of thing. She's asking to be released as a sovereign citizen. The point is this. Some of these people, and we'll see in the very next video here, some people make it a little more clear. They don't say sovereign citizen maybe, but they're more overt about their political positions or philosophical positions. She was slightly uncooperative, delaying tactic, not providing the proper information. We can see that clearly this was based, at least partially, in her belief that she's a sovereign citizen and she's not subject to the laws of this country. Marcel, I'll let you finish up this video. We'll go to the next, and that'll be interesting.
Yeah, so it's just like you said, she feels like she doesn't have to adhere to the laws of Florida or any state, and doesn't really care that you're wearing a uniform that identifies you as a police officer or that you have a vehicle that says police on it. This is part of the whole sovereign citizen mentality. They don't adhere to any authority when it comes to government. Police officers are government in their eyes. So anything that you do has to be justified tenfold for them. And the fact that she showed him some sort of ID, I couldn't really tell if it was a California ID or a California license. Even he said that her license hadn't come back yet. So,
yeah, he hadn't figured it out yet.
Yeah, this is part of the whole sovereign citizen where they either have some form of identification that they've created themselves that can't be entered into a system, or they have a fake passport. And in cases, they even use fake money, literally money that they've created. It doesn't, not counterfeit, but more just money that they said, this has got value.
Actually,
so,
it sounds like the federal government. I'm sorry, I just couldn't help. I just apologize.
But
go ahead.
And I think a lot of people, if you're in law enforcement for a long time, like you were and I am, you're going to deal with one of these people sometime in your career. And it's like
There's
you
no
said,
doubt about it.
they feel like they're travelers. They don't adhere to state law. They don't adhere to federal law, and that the conveyance that they have is just a conveyance. It's not an automobile. It's a conveyance. So
conveyance. That's the right word. I was looking for that earlier. You know what? They're going to get their wish. They are going to travel right to jail. Speaking of going to jail for these two, they were both charged with multiple felonies and possession of controlled substance. And the deputy asked this lady, hey, any controlled substance? Do you have any drugs, any drug paraphernalia on you, blah, blah. No. I'm going to search you, whatever. Do you have anything on you? I'm asking you right now because if you take it into the booking facility, that's a felony because now you're smuggling controlled substance into a prison. No. Well, guess what they found when they booked her? And so she got charged with smuggling and contraband to a prison as well. So good for her. And I hope her lawyer did a good job. So with that, Anthony, can you cue up video number 2? As I said, both of these videos are in Florida by 2 different sheriff's departments just by chance. See, that's how good the law enforcement here is in my home state of Florida.